Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dhwani and you're watching the short story series by Storyscape Studio. So this week I'm going to be talking about the most famous festival of India and the most celebrated festival of India, which is Diwali. Yes, so without wasting any time, let's move on into the video. So we all know the most famous story of Diwali, which is Lord Ram coming back to Ayodhya after his 14-year exile, after killing Ravan and freeing his wife Sita from Ravan's clutches. Diwali was basically celebrated because the people of Ayodhya were happy to have their king back. The entire palace was happy to have their king back, and they wanted to welcome him by lighting diyas all over the city of Ayodhya and welcoming him with warm and open hearts. And hence Diwali is celebrated on that particular day ever since, to mark the victory of good over evil, to mark the victory of knowledge over ignorance. So Diwali as a festival is actually not restricted to one single day. It actually goes on for 5 whole days. It starts with Dhanteras, goes on to Choti Diwali or Kali Chaudas or Narak Chaturdashi, then moves on to Lakshmi Pujan, which is generally celebrated as Diwali. Then we have Govardhan Puja or New Year, and then we have Bhai Dooj. So basically the Diwali as a festival is not restricted to one day, but a series of days where we all come together and celebrate. But did you guys know that the story of Diwali is not just restricted to Ram coming back to Ayodhya after his 14-year exile? In fact, the 5 days that we celebrate as Diwali, each day has a different relevance, has a different story, which is in no way related to Lord Ram coming back to Ayodhya. So today I'm going to tell you what each day signifies and what Diwali means in different parts of India. So the first day is Dhanteras. So during Dhanteras, we all generally keep our houses clean and decorate our house and start making rangolis and start putting up diyas outside our homes. And on this day, generally we try and prefer to buy gold or some kind of ornament or some kind of vehicle, anything that we want to buy, something new that we want to start, we generally do it on this day. But you guys know why we do that. So there are multiple stories behind it. Dhanteras, on the day of Dhanteras, friends and family get together to play Teen Patti, that is a game of cards, to gamble basically. Now, on such an auspicious day, why do people urge or why do people feel good about gambling, right? So there's a very interesting story behind this as well. Since Dhanteras is a very auspicious day where people are generally bestowed with wealth and health and happiness, it is said that on this day, if you gamble on anything, it generally proves to be successful. There is also another story where goddess Parvati actually played a game of cards or gambled on a game of cards on this day with her consort Lord Shiva, and she won on that day. And since then she actually blessed this day and said that whoever plays on this day is bound to win. Now the second day of Diwali festival is also known as Narak Chaturdashi or Choti Diwali. Now there's a very interesting story behind this. Narkasur was an asur who was the son of Bhudevi or Mother Earth, who is also an incarnation of goddess Lakshmi herself. Now Bhudevi rewarded his son, she favored her son a lot, and she rewarded his son that he would become invincible and he would only die only if his own mother wishes for him to die. Now slowly over the period of time, Narkasur became too powerful and too arrogant. He started misusing his powers as usual. There came a time when Lord Krishna himself had to come along with his wife Satyabhama to teach Narkasur a lesson. Lord Krishna fought with Narkasur day and night, and finally he defeated Narkasur. Narkasur was shocked. In the last moments of his life, Satyabhama, who was Lord Krishna's wife, rushed to Narkasur because she believed that Narkasur was his son. Satyabhama was actually a reincarnation of Bhudevi or Mother Earth, and she realized that Narkasur was his own son, and she wished that he would die so that he would be relieved from the arrogance and pride that has taken over him. Narkasur realized his folly, and finally, the day he died, darkness was lifted from earth, and that day was celebrated as Choti Diwali or Diwali. The third day is Lakshmi Pujan or Diwali, the main day as we call it. Now on this day, obviously the story is that Lord Ram came back to Ayodhya and the people of Ayodhya celebrated by lighting diyas all over the place. But in many parts of India, in fact in West Bengal, goddess Kali is worshipped on this particular day because they believe that she is the one who actually lifted darkness from the earth and gave them light. So on this particular day, we obviously worship goddess Lakshmi, but we also worship Lord Ganesha. Now you must be wondering, goddess Lakshmi is obviously the god of wealth, and hence we worship her during Diwali because it's an auspicious day and we want wealth to come to our homes. But why do we also worship Lord Ganesh? Now Lord Ganesh is the god of wisdom, as we all know. In fact, I'll put the link of the Lord Ganesh Chaturthi special video below, which explains why he is known as the Lord of wisdom, the god of wisdom. So we worship goddess Lakshmi and Lord Ganesh together. In most households, we also worship goddess Saraswati as well. Now, wealth without wisdom is nothing. Hence, goddess Lakshmi and Lord Ganesh are generally always worshipped together, especially on Lakshmi Pujan's day, because without wisdom, there is no wealth, and without wealth, your wisdom is actually futile. And this night actually ends with a huge feast and lighting of a lot of diyas and firecrackers to commemorate this very auspicious day of Diwali. The fourth day is also known as Govardhan Puja or Padwa or Bali Pratipad. Now, why is the fourth day known with so many different names, right? So there are different stories to each name. Why is it called Govardhan Puja? Does Mount Govardhan ring any bell to you guys? So this story is also related to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna once lifted Mount Govardhan on his little finger to save the entire town of Vrindavan from Lord Indra's wrath. On this day, Lord Krishna actually told all of his fellow villagers in Vrindavan to not worship Lord Indra and instead worship nature. Instead worship the huge Mount Govardhan who's been protecting and providing them with all things essential which is required to live a very peaceful life. At this, Lord Indra became angry and he started flooding the entire Vrindavan. There were torrents of rain, thunder throughout, because of which all the harvest, crops, houses, people, everybody were drowning. At this point, everyone arrived at Krishna's home and they all requested Krishna to help them. Krishna was merely 14 at that time. He went to Mount Govardhan and he said, "You pleased Mount Govardhan. He's the one who's going to provide for you." And he lifted Mount Govardhan on his little finger. Mount Govardhan was so huge that it could occupy the entire people of Vrindavan along with cattle and all their belongings. Lord Krishna held the mountain on his little finger for a very long time. That's when Lord Indra realized that what he was doing was a huge mistake and that Lord Krishna was actually a reincarnation or an avatar of Vishnu. And he came down, he requested Lord Krishna to forgive him because in his ego, he thought he is the supreme God and nobody can beat him and he deserved to be worshipped. Lord Krishna forgave him. And that is when on that day that every year we celebrate Govardhan Puja by worshipping nature or by worshipping the energy or the force that guides us to be living on this earth. Now this day is also known as Padwa or as Bali Pratipad. Now why is that? Again, if you remember, I spoke about in my Dasha Avatar series, I spoke about Vaman Avatar and how Vaman Avatar actually pushed King Bali, who is one of the most generous and good Asur king that existed on earth. But because of his ego, Lord Vishnu was born as Vaman Avatar, as a dwarf, and he pushed Bali into the netherworlds or into hell. But before pushing him, because he was a great devotee of Vishnu, Bali requested, and he loved his kingdom and his people a lot. Bali requested for a boon, that he would come every year to visit his people, to visit whoever loves him, and to see if his kingdom is prospering. So on this day, it is said that Bali gets the permission to come on earth and roam on earth, to walk amongst his people, to see if everything is prospering well. This day is also celebrated as New Year in almost all Hindu households. The fifth day is called as Bhai Dooj, which is dedicated to all the brothers and sisters. Now the legend has it that Lord Yam, who was the god of death, visited his sister Yami or Yamuna, which is the river Yamuna, on this day. And on this day, he was overwhelmed by the way he was treated by Yamuna. She treated him with such tenderness and such love that Lord Yam blessed this particular day and said that whichever brother is fortunate enough to get a tilak on his head and to get his sister's blessings and love on this particular day should never fear death in his life, because he's got the protection or the love of his sister as a protection against death. Hence, we celebrate Bhai Dooj on this day, where every brother goes to a sister's house or the sister visits the brother, and they both celebrate together with feast, sweets, and of course a tilak on the head. So guys, time for a little fun fact. So we all know why we celebrate Diwali, and I hope this video has been helpful to know the other stories behind Diwali. But did you guys also know that Diwali was celebrated way before Ramayana? It was celebrated way before Lord Ram came back to Ayodhya. I'll tell you how. So Diwali or Deepavali basically means row of lights. Way back, way before this entire era, people in India anyway used to light diyas or light lanterns, lots of lanterns during this time at night. Now you wonder why. So Deepavali or Diwali generally comes during the initial winter months, which is October, November. So during this time, insects breed in a large number, because of which the farmers also have a difficulty in harvesting the crop. This is the time when farmers also start harvesting the crops, right? So insects are obviously attracted to fire or light. And in a way, when they come near the light or they come near the fire, they die, obviously. So this was a subtle way of farmers to avoid the insects from spoiling their harvest. And hence, during this time, almost every day, especially these 1 week where they have to start harvesting the crop, farmers used to always light diyas in and around their house, in and around their farms, to avoid insects coming and spoiling or ruining their entire harvest. And hence, after the harvesting of the crops, generally the farmers then come together and enjoy and celebrate, which leads to the festival of Diwali. Now, did you guys know that the Gayatri Mantra actually came from the great epic of Ramayana? No? So Gayatri Mantra actually has 24 letters, and the Valmiki's Ramayana has 24,000 verses. The first letter that comes after every 1,000 verses actually forms the entire Gayatri Mantra. This mantra is the essence of the sacred epic. So the next time you chant the Gayatri Mantra in front of a Lord, do remember this very fun fact, and do remember the festival of Diwali. So that's it for this time, guys. I hope you guys liked my story. If you did, please do like, comment and share the video with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell icon to not miss any of my updates. Also follow me on Instagram under the name of Storyscape_studio. I'll be back again next week. Till then, have a very happy Diwali and a prosperous new year. Don't light firecrackers, instead light diyas, and save the environment. I'll be back very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.